Zach Roloff opens up about rocky family ties 1 year after show ends. On June 19th, 2025, Zach Roloff joined his wife, Tori, on an episode of their podcast, Raising Heights with Zach Tori, to speak honestly about where things stand with his family 1 year after the series finale of Little People, Big World aired in mid-2024. Their reflections offer a unique, adult perspective on the evolving dynamics of familial relationships once the daily presence and pressure of reality television fades. Since the show debuted in 2006, the Roloff family, Zach, his twin Jeremy, brother Jacob, sister Molly, and parents Matt and Amy, became household names. For nearly 2 decades, viewers tuned in to witness their joys, struggles, and deeply personal life decisions broadcast globally. But as the curtain closed on season 25, that public intimacy gave way to private reckoning and moments of tension, and gradually healing. The fallout from the finale. The final season of LPBW was marked by increasingly tense exchanges, particularly surrounding decisions about the family farm, a land that held deep personal and historical significance. Matt's decision to turn parts of the farm into a rental property rather than sell them to Zach triggered intense conflict. With these disputes laid bare on national television across the 25th season, emotional rifts deepened. Zach later described the final months of filming as rough, attributing the rift to both the farm disagreements and long-standing emotional undercurrents in the family. He admitted that although cameras stopped rolling, the dust didn't settle, especially once the season aired and old wounds were reopened. In May 2024, he labeled his bond with Matt as non-existent, acknowledging it was toxic and non-functional in the aftermath of the conflict. For fans, it was heartbreakingly clear. The end of the show wasn't merely about closure, it left a family grappling with very real, complex fracture points. 1 year later, a shift in the air. Fast forward to June 2025. Tori and Zach shared that the emotional landscape has begun to change, albeit slowly. They painted a picture of gradual thawing, careful rebuilding, and adult acceptance. Sibling bonds begin to heal. A particularly poignant moment came when a listener asked about Zach's relationships with his siblings, Molly, Jacob, and Jeremy. Turning toward Molly, he noted they're in a pretty good relationship. His connection with Jacob? Decent. Notably, Jeremy wasn't mentioned by name, implying either a neutral or still tense bond. Tori added crucial insight. I feel like right now, we're at one of the better spaces that we've been at with your family in a while. That shared statement acknowledges past pain, but also signals movement. Between the siblings, Zach said, things are melting. He credited the presence of the children, his 3 and his siblings, for being emotional glue. They all love hanging out, and that bond has served as a bridge to close some of the chasms. The farm, a complicated legacy. Despite the slow familial mending, the Roloff farm remains a symbol of unresolved tension. Zach admitted that it brings up a lot of resentment and old feelings, and their family seldom visits. Though nostalgic about its potential as a place of generational connection, he characterized returning as unrealistic, partly due to its location more than an hour away, but also because certain dynamics of the farm haven't changed. That sentiment carries weight. It signals that reconciliation isn't about proximity, but about unresolved emotional dynamics at the very site of conflict. Parental relationships, mixed signals. Another emotional core of Zach's revelations centered on his 2 parents. Dad Matt Roloff. He paused when discussing his father. Matt still shows up at baseball games, occasional events, and Christmas gatherings. But as Tori put it bluntly, there's no relationship there. Zach nodded in agreement. This marks a subtle shift from last year, when he labeled their bond entirely not existent now. Even though emotionally distant, Matt is at least physically present, and Zach acknowledges that reality openly. He didn't spin a rosy narrative, he spoke of an adult relationship, not as father and son, but as 2 people coexisting with boundaries. Mom Amy Roloff. The relationship with Amy appears healthier. Zach observed theirs has seen ups and downs, particularly with Amy moving out of the farmhouse, but that it remains dependable. Tori affirmed, "Your mom's always been good, She's someone we can call no matter what, and praised her role as a supportive, loving grandmother. Amy's emotional steadiness has been a rock. Despite living apart and the backdrop of tension, she's maintained consistency, offering emotional availability across uncertainties. She remains a source of familial stability and mutual support. The emotional process of growing up. As Zach reflected, a key shift lies in acceptance, not in repair. He emphasized that adult families are not going to look like what they did 10 years ago. He framed it as evolution, not failure. Things change also that are just natural, he said, reaffirming that what's unfolding is not new, but expected in changing lives. With his own life now focused on raising children, Jackson, 8, Lila, 5, and Josiah, 3, Zach discussed how priorities have realigned. There's a conscious choice to move away from the farm, away from the spotlight, and toward new traditions rooted in peaceful boundaries. From his standpoint, this is behavioral maturity, not conflict. It's choosing emotional space over forced proximity, supporting sibling cohesion without artificial family gatherings, and holding a place for parental love without reliving past slights. Parenting through complexity. One compelling sub-theme is how Zach and Tori are protecting their children from grown-up hurt. They've prioritized closeness among cousins, letting the kids define their own relationships free from adult drama. When asked if they're withholding the children from grandparents, they flatly denied it, saying those narratives are internet drama. Instead, they present a model of intentional parenting, giving kids space to form their own emotional bonds while shielding them from adult conflict. It's modern, mindful, and protective. The role of time, the great mediator. Time might heal, Zach mused when recalling last year's remarks. He's not banking on fairy tale reconciliation, but he's observing small meltings of ice. A sibling laughs during a cousin get-together. Matt shows up and watches a baseball game. That's progress, not perfect, but human and hopeful. In this light, every family event, even with emotional friction, represents forward momentum. The farm may be off limits. Matt may remain a distant father, not a daily presence. But seeds of reconnection, sibling joy, loving grandparents, a dependable mom, are sprouting. Perspective, life after reality TV. For over 2 decades, cameras defined every family moment. Marriages, pregnancies, arguments, triumphs. Post-show, Zach is now choosing what to spotlight. He's deliberately detached from the farm and the show's past. He's building a smaller role for broadcasted emotion, and he's choosing peace over performance. This transition mirrors a broader lesson from reality TV families. After seasons of public life, true healing must happen in private. The shift from being show-driven to being humanity-driven is both liberating and challenging. Looking ahead, what could come next? Predicting how this family's story continues isn't simple, but patterns are forming. Bounded interactions. Matt visits happens, but preserves distance. These interactions may increase in frequency, value, but remain guarded. Sibling regrowth. Amy's role as grandmother and mediator may accelerate sibling ice melting. Cousin get-togethers could subtly transform emotional landscapes. Forging new traditions. Without the farm as hub, Zach and Tori may create fresh familial rituals in homes, community spaces, or neutral locations anchored in positivity and parental control. Gradual emotional reconciliation. Healing doesn't require full repair. But half steps, shared meals, intermittent visits, holiday peace, could lead to clinically better enough relationships over years. Concluding thoughts. Realistic hope. Zach Roloff's reflections present a deeply honest portrait. Adult families evolve, and growth isn't always neat. 1 year post-show, he's not at a reconciliation milestone, but he's in a better space. Sibling bridges warming, maternal support solid, paternal contact defined, but limited. What resonates most is the maturity in his approach. He's not waiting for an all-or-nothing resolution. He's allowing time and choice to chart new emotional territory. That's not just post-reality television. It's the real course of life. TLDR snapshot summary. Relationship current status notes. Molly good. Pretty good relationship. Jacob decent. Continuing to improve. Jeremy unspecified. Not mentioned. Mom, Amy. Dependable, positive, consistent support. Dad, Matt, physically present, emotionally distant. No relationship emotionally. The Roloff family farm remains a contentious emotional symbol. Zach and Tori prioritize their children's emotional well-being over adult drama. As adults, they're reshaping family ties, not returning to old ones. Time and new neutral experiences may dictate future dynamics. Zach's story is compelling not just for television fans, but for anyone navigating the complexities of adult family relationships, especially those once defined by shared history, space, and expectations. His narrative offers a masterclass in setting boundaries, surviving conflict, and building new traditions, all while holding on to the hope of growth.